On today's episode, with the clock 2 minutes to midnight, is time almost up for Papa Emeritus IV? All this and more on gonstFM, off air. Welcome, ghouls, ghoulettes, and guesties to gonstFM Off Air, the official podcast companion to 66.6 gonstFM, the radio station dedicated to the band Ghost and the wider Gonst community, broadcasted live once per month on the Stationhead app. I'm your host, Richie, aka Papa X, aka Papa Me Emeritus, as so lovingly named by all of you Gonslings. I know I'm fashionably late to the party talking about this movie trailer, but to be very honest, I wanted to wait for it to have been out for a little bit before talking about it, and then also with the release of Absolution from the forum, from the quote official soundtrack to Right Here, Right Now. We all know it's a live album, but I thought it would be fun to talk about the trailer a little bit, and to also give a compare and contrast of the live cut of Absolution from the Right Here, Right Now soundtrack versus the Ceremony and Devotion cut of Absolution. Because it's really cool to hear the difference between the two. And the differences are subtle. There's really not a lot of differences between the two. Just some small things here and there. But we'll get to that later. So as you know, Right Here, Right Now is haunting theaters on June 20th and the 22nd, with more dates being added as of this recording. I don't really feel like there's too much to discuss that hasn't already been said online, so I'm just kind of giving my 2 cents as far as what I saw, what I liked about it, what I thought was cool. And I'll tell you right off the bat, the cinematography itself is fucking amazing. I think Alex Ross Perry has done an amazing job as far as what we've seen in the trailer. Obviously, Tobias is a co-director on this project, but Alex Ross Perry has done a lot of work himself, as evidenced by the Jesus He Knows Me music video. He seems to have brought the same cinematography to this, but obviously with a bigger budget on a bigger level, and on the square. I think the Popcorn Cinematic Pictures thing is fucking hilarious. For a multitude of reasons, obviously popcorn. I like the P crucifix logo on the popcorn or popcorn bucket. I can't help but giggle at PCP though. That's fucking great. It's funny. But looking at the movie trailer, it's only about 1 minute and 10 seconds long. There's really great shots of the live audience and the performance aspect of this concert, which it is a concert film. I should point that out. There's going to be elements of lore and story behind it, but the concert element, I think, is a big aspect. It's got a long running time, which makes me feel like we're going to get most of the concert, if not all of it. And then all the lore tying it together in story, which they did a great job in the trailer reminding us that there will be both. I think the homage to certain movies in this trailer are kind of funny. Like, some of it's a little obvious, and then some of it is up to interpretation. I really think that the shadow and the lighting over the eyes is very much a Clint Eastwood kind of thing with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Obviously with a comedic element. It looks like there is a fucking cowboy hat on Papa 4, which I would giggle my ass off if that was something that he intentionally did, because at the Houston, Texas show that I was at, he put that fucking cowboy hat on his head that somebody gave him from the crowd. And it is a look. Papa 4 looking like Arthur Morgan. But then there's other shots of him putting on the papal robe, of course, and the mitre, and getting himself suited up. It looks like, with all the zoom in cuts, I saw somebody be like, oh, that's very Sam Raimi and Evil Dead, and my first thought wasn't even that. My first thought was this motherfucker getting suited up like Mr. George Clooney bat nipples in Batman and Robin, and in Batman Forever with Val Kilmer, because that is such a Joel Schumacher shot, like where they're just zooming in close-ups on all the costuming getting put on. It's fucking funny. And then the whole tagline of like, oh, this is not a story about death, but one of life. And I'm just kind of sitting here like, we know better. Don't be trolling us, motherfucker. Don't be trolling us, Toby Funyuns. We already know what's coming. Just don't. You can't fool us, sir. But I will say there's other elements of the trailer that just gets me hyped as fuck, because if you've never been to a ghost ritual before and this will be your first time, you're not only getting the actual concert, but you're getting the lore in it too. And that kind of brings me to my film background a little bit. I really feel like in due time, this gives big time midnight movie / cult film vibes, like big time. Many concert films released by bands over the last 40 years have become such things, such like The Who with Tommy and Pink Floyd, The Wall. You know, stuff like that lasts. And obviously, like, you have the Beatles that have had, several films And all of these concert / film ideas, because let's be honest, they're hybrids most of the time, or they're just powered by the music of the band. They have all become like cult films over the years. And then it also kind of ties into musicals like Rocky Horror or Little Shop of Horrors. Hell, even Repo the Genetic Opera. Ghost is seemingly about to release something that will fall right between both of those categories, and I think it's cool as shit. It's not the first time it's been done by any artist, but I think the way in which they are doing it is a lot of fun. I really love the boxing Papa look with the Golden Gloves, which obviously is a reference to being a Golden Gloves boxer. To me, it gives big Rocky Balboa vibes. And then obviously with the skeleton dancers, I feel like a lot of this does tie into imagery for the lore that's going to be tied into the concert aspect of the film. I won't delve too far into it, but just my theory on the skeleton dancers, it looks like death may be coming for Papa, or they're at least kind of alluding to that. And then it may just be fucking skeleton dancers for the fuck of it. Because Papa 4 is extra. I don't care what anybody says. Papa Emeritus IV is an extra motherfucker. There's also the fucking hilarious animation part of Sister running over Papa Nil with the car. It's very Scooby-Doo. Like, it's giving huge Scooby-Doo vibes. So you know we're getting the comedic elements, we're getting the musical elements, we're going to be getting some of the more serious tones with the lore happening. But what I think very much makes this a must-see in theaters kind of deal is the fact that most of us don't get to interact with each other unless we go to a concert together or a ritual, or we go to Facebook or Instagram, you know, where we're all hanging out with each other on social media. This is a huge chance for people in certain areas to get together, have meetups, and all that. In fact, when I go to see this, we'll be hanging out together with guesties and everything before, during, and after. On to the final shot in the trailer with the logo being very prevalent. And the logo has been prevalent throughout the entirety of the marketing for this, obviously, because it's the fucking logo. I always thought it was cool that they had the clock, you know, close to midnight. That's definitely a Dance Macabre reference. However, it's also like the Doomsday clock reference, where it's, you know, the clock is moving closer to midnight. And it's also signifying, hey, Papa 4's time is probably almost up. And I might be in the minority here, but I like the inclusion of the original Crucifix logo in this thing. Because with Papa 4's entire run, we've gotten the Papa 4 version of the Crucifix, which is fucking cool. But you hardly ever see the original Crucifix logo in any of the marketing for Papa 4. Like, I know it's there, like, subtly, but they don't put it out on Front Street like they're doing with this. So it almost comes off like a sign of, hey, we may be going back to basics with whoever is taking over, or there might be, you know, a very significant change with whoever is coming, because there's always a change anytime you swap a band leader. You know, maybe that's something intentional or just a design choice, which either way, I think the logo looks cool as shit. I like how the T in Rite is upside down and right side up at the same time. It's kind of giving as above, so below vibes. I mean, there's a ton that we could get into talking about theories and things of that nature. But again, this is just my opinion, just things that I see, the things that I noticed. You know, there's a ton of people out there. If you want to go, you know, onto any of the Ghost sites and, you know, scroll to the comments and like read what people have had to say about it. And that's the fun part about all of this, is that it's interpretation. It's all up to your imagination. When's this going to happen? Who's going to do what? What's going to go where? Look, I'm just here. I'm on a fucking roller coaster ride, a roller coaster, if you will. And I'm very much looking forward to whatever the hell comes our way. It moves us forward to the soundtrack, which I want to speak about a little bit at length on. First off, let's talk about Absolution. I think the live cut of this one is a lot more energetic than the one that was released on Ceremony and Devotion. Now, there's a lot of things that go into this, first of all. The Ceremony and Devotion one was released around the time of Terzo, and this was when the band was different on stage. The band was significantly smaller in numbers, and that makes a big difference whenever you have music that has multiple layers underneath it and you're trying to recreate it live without using as much backing as possible. Now, it never sucks. I will say that up front. Like, this band never sucks live. I've never heard a bad performance from Ghost in my entire time of watching videos or listening to audio or any of that shit. But I will say, from a mixing standpoint, I think the Right Here, Right Now cut of Absolution is a lot better. The instrumentation is equalized very well across the board. With the Ceremony and Devotion one, it felt like the guitar was a little overbearing at times on the lead parts. Tobias never changes much of what he does singing this thing live. In fact, even the ending to me is fucking hilarious. because it doesn't change. It's the same point in the song whenever he calls out the city that they're playing in, and then the state that they're playing in, and then the country they're playing in. I mean, even as far as the ending notes that he sings at the end when he goes, down each, step. It's all there. However, I think the one from the Right Here, Right Now cut is a little more drawn out. I think that's the best word to use. And it's not even a negative way. It's great. You can tell how much thought he's put into okay, let's hold out some of these notes longer. Let's let some of these parts ring out more. I also really enjoyed the fact that the guitar tone itself is different on the Right Here, Right Now cut. Obviously, there's more guitar work happening on stage because you can even hear a rhythm part being played underneath the dual guitar soloing, which was not a thing on Ceremony of Devotion. And that is because of the inclusion of more ghouls and ghoulettes on stage. You get to hear the backing vocals more prevalently because of the ghoulettes. You get more than 2 parts harmony from the ghouls on certain parts. There's even room for drum improvisation, which planned, obviously they rehearsed it this way, but there's even room for drum fills that were never there before in the bridge of the song, which I'm a huge fan of. Because in the style change from even pre-Kel era to the Impera era, which that's kind of funny to say, pre-Kel Impera era. What the fuck, Richie?
What the fuck, Richard?
Anyway, it's fun because when Impera came around, you could tell that there was more of a conscious effort to deliver prog rock on top of Ghost's already expansive subgenre category in metal. Yes, I said Ghost and metal in the same sentence. Please suck it, haters. I'm all about taking familiarity and turning it upside down, throwing it on its head, because I love curveballs like that. It adds to the music. It does not take away anything. If anything, it adds that extra flash and flair. Makes the song feel bigger. Makes it feel more grand, because guess what, everybody? It is much bigger, and it's much more of a grand thing. It's a much bigger deal because of what we're about to get in the lore. If you think about this possibly being Papa 4's very last hoorah, why wouldn't this motherfucker go out with a bang? Why wouldn't he go out with all the flash and the drama and the flair and everything that goes along with it? This motherfucker has more costume changes than Lady Gaga, okay? I mean, probably not, but you know what I'm saying. This motherfucker goes from Captain Crunch to the dark Pope robes that came before him with Papa 1, 2, and 3, all the way to different colored, sparkly Barry Manilow style fucking jackets. You cannot tell me this motherfucker does not serve cunt, because he fucking does. A couple more things about the Absolution cut. I loved hearing the pyro pop in certain spots because, again, it brings that energy, that feel. The thing that I love most about live albums is closing my eyes and pretending I'm there. There's a different energy when you hear a live cut of any band's music because you can feel that energy coming back from the crowd. You can feel the energy being reciprocated from the band on stage. I know a few people that just don't like live cuts, and that is totally a choice, and that is totally respectable. I get it. But I'm definitely one of those guys that I have live albums of every band that I really enjoy. I have live albums from AC/DC, Metallica, Him, Blink-182, you name it. I probably have a live album from every band. And and Ghost even, obviously. I think all of us that listen have a cut of Ceremony and Devotion somewhere. Which brings me to the track listing. Everybody out there has seen that, there's going to be 18 tracks. And all we've seen so far is the digital cut. I don't think that we're going to be getting all the songs on the digital release. I think all the songs are going to be on the vinyl. And evidence to support that theory is this. When Ceremony and Devotion was released, if you downloaded it digitally, you only got 15 songs. They left off Secular Haze and Elizabeth, which you can listen to on either the CD or the vinyl version. Which I think from a marketing standpoint is fucking intelligent because it makes you want to go buy a physical release, which I'm a big supporter of physical releases. I love having stuff that I can hold and look at. On the Right Here, Right Now track listing, it lists 18 songs. However, I think everybody knows that at the Los Angeles gigs, they played 21 songs, and this is not including the instrumental tracks. So, that begs the question, what three songs, either what three songs will they cut, or will they combine the instrumental tracks into certain songs? Because if you look at photos of the vinyl version of this being listed on certain websites for sale, you can see where they have already included side A of the first record. And the first 5 songs, they actually list Imperium as its own track. That means that one of the 18 tracks is its own instrumental opening. Because if you look at the digital cut of this album, Absolution is track 7. If you look at the set list from the LA Forum, Absolution is the 6th song played. So that kind of lines up where Imperium would be its own track, and then Absolution lining up perfectly. But after that, you have to start thinking, okay, we have 2 more songs that were played during LA that weren't played elsewhere. One of which is 20s. I think we all fucking know that by now. And the other one is If You Have Ghosts. I cannot see them leaving those 2 songs off of this because I think it would be a crime, both digitally and on the vinyl. However, from a marketing standpoint, once again, I feel like that would be more inclination to buy the physical copy if you're getting 20s and If You Have Ghosts. Because if you took those off, that's already less than we're getting on the digital release of this. And as you know, Dominion and Spoxanaut are already instrumentals that get played before certain songs. If it were me putting this record together, I would combine Dominion with 20s and then combine Spoxanaut with He Is, because it's all supposed to have been one giant track anyway. Again, I think it'd be a crime to get rid of any song on this fucking thing. But as far as the vinyl release goes, most vinyls include at least up to 5 or 6 songs on side A, side B, however many, like whichever side of the record it's on, it's 5 to 6 songs, or however much they can actually fit due to length of time on said songs. But if I did my math correctly, I feel like the vinyl cut is going to have 20. If anything, they could combine 2 of the instrumentals and probably leave 1 song off. Period. End of story. Because we would get 20 songs all together, because it's 2 vinyls, like it's a double album. Let's just be honest. It's a double album. There's going to be 2 sides to each one, and 5 songs on each side is 20. Unless we get 6 on one side somehow, because I think Dominion is short enough of an instrumental to be included, so is Spoxanaut. I would hate for anything to be cut, but, you know, that's just the nature of the fucking business. Sometimes we have to sacrifice a song to the gods. Or whatever. During the cuts of Absolution, when Papa says, Inglewood, Los Angeles, California, United States of America, this kind of cracks me up because, like, in my brain, I know he didn't do this, I'm just being silly here. In my brain, Papa 4 is such a klutz sometimes that he might forget the city that he's in. So, and I know that Inglewood and Los Angeles are basically like around the same area, but obviously they refer to it being Los Angeles because it sounds bigger. He's up on stage and he's like, Inglewood!
God damn it.
Like he fucked the name of the city up because he forgot. Los Angeles! Fuck it, I'm just going to say the state. California! Where the fuck am I? United States of America! Like, seriously, it's funny to me. Like, the way in which my brain works finds humor in this. If you have gone to a ritual at any point in this band's existence, were you ever in a city that Papa fucked up the name of the town they were playing in?
God damn it.
And if that happened, please leave a comment below. Tell me where it was at, what fucking happened. I would love to know, because it's a playful roast. It's fun. It's not like shitting on the dude, because it fucking happens. Trust me, it's not the first time in rock history that the lead singer of a band has fucked up the name of the town. But if Papa has ever fucked your town's name up, please let us know. For past, present, and future episodes of gonstFM Off Air, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave a rating and leave a comment on individual episodes on Spotify, YouTube. Leave a thumbs up, click the bell for notifications, and leave a comment on the episode below. If you would like to join us for a gonstFM radio ritual on Stationhead, if you would like to buy gonstFM merchandise, if you would like to join gonstFam, the official gonstFM Facebook group, all of this can be found in the show notes below by clicking the corresponding links. And so, my dearest Gonslings, this brings today's episode to a close. Some of you I will see in Internet Land, and the rest of you I will see in gonstFam. Take care of yourselves, and remember, until next time, In Gonst, we Tronst. I'm Richie. I'll see you next time.